Good morning, my dear student. Today in geography, we are going to continue the same chapter, that is lifelines of national economy. Children, in our previous class, we have studied about the classification of transport. Then we studied about the roadways, classification of roads, road density, problem faced by road transportation, etc. And today we are going to study about railways, pipeline and waterways. Now let's start with railways. Railways are the principal mode of transportation for goods and passengers in India. Railways also make it possible to conduct multifarious activities like business, sightseeing, pilgrimage, along with transportation of goods over a longer distance. Apart from an important means of transport, the Indian Railways have been a great integrating force for more than 150 years. Railways in India bind the economic life of the country as well as accelerate the development of the industry and agriculture. Children, the Indian Railway have a network of 7,031 stations spread over a route length of 63,221 km with a fleet of 7,817 locomotives, 7,321 passenger service vehicles, 4,904 other coach vehicles and 2,28,117 wagons as on 31st March 2004. The Indian Railways is the largest public sector undertaking in the country. The first train steamed off from Mumbai to Thane in 1853, covering a distance of 34 kilometers. Children, once again I am repeating the importance of railways. Listen it very carefully. Now first, it is a principal mode of transportation for goods and passengers in India. It is suitable for long distance travel. Then it conducts multi activities like business, sightseeing and pilgrimage along with the transportation of goods. Then it plays an important role in the national integration and it binds the economic life of the country as well as accelerate the development of the industry and agriculture. Children, railways is the largest public sector undertaking in our country. The distribution pattern of the railway network in the country has been largely influenced by the physiographic, economic and administrative factors. The northern plains with their vast level land, high population density and rich agricultural resources provided the most favorable condition for their growth. However, a large number of rivers requiring construction of bridges across their wide beds pose some obstacles. In the hilly terrains of the peninsular regions, railway tracks are laid through the low hills, gaps or tunnels. The Himalayan mountainous regions too are unfavorable for the constructions of railway lines due to the high relief, sparse population and lack of economic opportunities. Likewise, it was difficult to lay railway lines on the sandy plains of western Rajasthan, swamps of Gujarat, forested tracts of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Jharkhand. The contiguous stretch of Sahyadri could be crossed only through the gaps or passes. In recent times, the development of Konkan Railway along the west coast has facilitated the movement of passengers and goods in this most important economic region of India. It has also faced a number of problems such as sinking of tracks in some stretches and landslides. Today, the railways have become more important in our national economy than all other means of transport put together. Children, however, rail transport suffers from certain problems as well. Many passengers travel without tickets. Thefts and damaging of railway property has not yet stopped completely. People stop the train, pull the chain unnecessarily, and this causes heavy damage to the railways. Children, just think how we can help our railways in running as per scheduled time. Now, pipelines. Children, pipeline is a new mode of transport on the transport map of India. Pipeline transport network is a new arrival on the transportation map of India. In the past, these were used to transport water to cities and industries. Now, these are used for transporting crude oil, petroleum products, and natural gas from oil and natural gas fields to the refineries, fertilizer factories, and big thermal power plants. Solids can also be transported through the pipeline when converted into slurry. The far inland location of refineries like Barauni, Mathura, Panipat, and gas-based fertilizer plants could be thought of only because of pipelines. Children, initial cost of laying pipeline is high, but subsequent running costs are minimal. It rules out transshipment losses or delays. There are three important networks of pipeline transportation in the country. Children, you have to learn these three. The first one is from oil field in Upper Assam to Kanpur via Guwahati, Barauni and Allahabad. It has branches from Barauni to Haldia via Rajband to Maurigram and Guwahati to Siliguri. Second, from Salaya in Gujarat to Jalandhar in Punjab via Viramgam, Mathura, Delhi and Sonipat. It has branches to connect Koili near Vadodara, Chakshu and other places. Third, gas pipeline from Hajira in Gujarat connects Jagdishpur in Uttar Pradesh via Vijaypur in Madhya Pradesh. It has branches to Kota in Rajasthan, Shahjahanpur, Babrala and other places in Uttar Pradesh. Now, waterways. Since time immemorial, India was one of the seafaring countries. Its seamen sailed far and near, thus carrying and spreading Indian commerce and culture. Waterways are the cheapest mode of transportation. They are the most suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods. It is a fuel efficient and environment friendly mode of transport. India has inland navigation waterways of 14,500 kilometers in length. Out of these, 3,700 kilometers are navigable by mechanized boats. Children, the following waterways have been declared as national waterways by government. The first one is the Ganga River between Allahabad and Haldia, and the length is 1620 kilometers, and we call it as a national waterways number 1. Then second, the Brahmaputra River between Sadia and Dhubri, and the length is 891 kilometer, and we call it as a national waterways number 2. The West Coast Canal in Kerala with the length 205 kilometer, we call it as a national waterways number 3. The other viable inland waterways include the Godavari, Krishna, Barak, Sundarban, Buckingham Canal, Baramani, East-West Canal and Damodar Valley Corporation Canal. Apart from these, India's trade with the foreign countries is carried from the ports located along the coast. 95% of the country's trade volume is moved by sea. Now, major seaports. With a long coastline of 7,516.6 kilometers, India is dotted with 12 major and 181 medium and minor ports. Now, major seaports. With a long coastline of 7,516.6 km, India is dotted with 13 major and 187 medium and minor ports, which make up for the total 200 ports. These major ports handle 74% of cargo and 95% of India's foreign trade. Now children, let's see one by one the major seaports of our country. First, Kandla. Kandla in Kutch was the first port developed soon after independence to ease the volume of trade on the Mumbai port in the wake of loss of Karachi port to Pakistan after the partition. Children, Kandla is a tidal port. It caters to the convenient handling of export and imports of highly productive granary and the industrial belts stretching across the states of Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Mumbai Port. It is the biggest port with a spacious, natural and well-sheltered harbour. The Jawaharlal Nehru Port was planned with a view to decongest the Mumbai port and serve as a hub port for this region. Marmagao Port is the premier iron ore exporting port of the country. This port accounts for about 50% of India's iron ore export. New Mangalore Port, located in Karnataka, caters to export of the iron ore concentrates from Kodermukh mines. Kochi is the extreme southwestern port located at the entrance of a lagoon with a natural harbour. On the east coast, the port of Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu. This port has a natural harbour and rich hinterland. Thus, it has a flourishing trade handling of a large variety of cargoes to even our neighbouring countries like Sri Lanka, Maldives, etc. and the coastal region of India. Then Chennai. Chennai is one of the oldest artificial ports of the country. It is ranked next to Mumbai in terms of volume of trade and cargo. Then Vishakhapatnam is the deepest landlocked and well protected port. This port was originally conceived as an outlet for the iron ore export. Paradip Port, located in Odisha, specializes in the export of iron ore. Then Kolkata Port. Kolkata is an inland riverine port. This port serves as a very large and rich hinterland to Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Being a tidal port, it requires constant dredging of the Hooghly. Haldia Port was developed as a subsidiary port in order to relieve growing pressure on the Kolkata port. That's all for today, children. Thank you and have a nice day.